Hello box headers, welcome to our instruction video for our Cricut paper toy, Papercraft. Here we have in front of us the body, and here's one that we prepared earlier, and just showing you that the head that goes on top of it as well, it's already got its little arms in there, and you can see there it's got a little collar that pops up there too. And those heads are available for free. You can download and print those for free. There's a whole bunch of different ones available, and with ponytails and shorter hair and all sorts of places. But there, look, see, you can go there and you can download those for free. Have a good practice of making paper toys before you go and buy anything such as this Cricut paper toy that comes with four sheets of paper, or four crafting sheets, I should say, a body, and one that's got a couple of caps on there, Cricut caps with a ball, and also a helmet with the bat, and then finally the stand or base with the Cricut pitch and wickets on. But there's videos for all of those as well. But this video is for the cricketer's body, boots, and his the sleeves as well for the cricketer. And we're starting to cut the first boot out, but rather than finishing that off, I'm going to cut out some of the other parts first, some of the other parts or elements of the paper toy. Such as the sleeve there as well. This is just to make cutting out of the bigger bits, especially the biggest bit, the body. It'll make it a little bit easier because we won't have these extra bits of paper to get in our way. So we'll just cut those out and move them off to one side. And we'll do the same on the other side as well. We'll get rid of those or cut out the other pieces so that when we are cutting around some of those tricky bits of the body, that these parts aren't getting in the way too much. And going slightly different way round with this one, cutting right down the body first. There's no right or wrong way as long as you follow the cut lines. They're the solid lines. There's a little sort of key that you can see there. You can see cut lines, and then there's those dotted lines that you can see in there. The lines that we're going to fold later on in this video. But for now, we're nearly finished cutting the other part of the boot and sleeve out. We'll just pop that off and leave it to one side so we know we've still got those bits to cut. And we'll finish off cutting the rest of the body. So try and keep those scissors nice and straight out in front of you, and also flat as well. What I mean by flat is, I guess, sort of horizontal, like level with the table, so that they're sort of like straight out in front and sort of level with the desk or table wherever you're cutting. And then you can move the paper around the scissors rather than thinking, oh, I've got to move the paper and the scissors at the same time. All you need to do with the scissor hand is just sort of make the scissors cut, and your other hand, your non-cutting hand, whether you're left or right-handed, your non-cutting hand is there to move the paper around the scissors. Moving the paper around the scissors also helps us getting some nice curves as well. There you can see I'm demonstrating how you can get your hands all twisted and tied up. But if you keep those scissors nice and straight, then you shouldn't have such problems. And you don't need to follow the cut line all the way around either, like I just did there. you can make sort of separate cuts and bring your scissors out of the paper like that, and then go back and make another cut. Try and make the cutting part as easy on yourself as possible. Got a nice long cut to make all along the collar there. But one thing that I do when I'm making long cuts like that is I don't bring the scissors all the way together, because that tends to sort of leave a little mark on the paper, a little pucker, if you sort of close the scissors completely. And just line your scissors up so that you've got them nicely on those cut lines. I'm just going to make the last cuts around the collar and the sort of the back and side of the body there. And I think that's everything. Move our little bits of rubbish out of the way, and we've cut all the parts for the body. So now let's go down to, you can see even there, you can just make out there, you can make out those dotted lines, and we're just going to sort of bend the paper around, and when we're sure that we've got it right, we can just pinch the paper together. So just bend it around where the dotted lines are. Just make sure you've got a nice clear table to work on. And then when you're happy that you've got the fold in the right place, you can just push the paper together. You don't need to, doesn't need to be a sharp fold, like a fold where you run your fingernail or a ruler over it. You can just make those nice bends into the paper. Now about the paper, standard paper just does work. Standard photocopier paper, which is or printer paper, which is 80 GSM, so that's the weight of the paper. I'm using 160 GSM, which is exactly what it sounds. It's twice as heavy. It's not too thick, but it's not as thin as standard printer paper either. It just gives a nicer sort of look to your paper toy in terms of sort of the weight of the paper, and also helps a little bit more with the construction of the paper. Toy, sorry. Don't worry if you've only got printer paper, that will work just as well, just as fine. But if you're feeling a bit fancy, then go and get yourself something like 160 GSM paper. It's a little bit more expensive, but you do get a better quality paper toy. Anyway, back to our folds. You can see I'm folding the collar there. Now it makes them sort of like, it looks a bit odd for the collar because it looks like it goes down to the bottom of the paper toy there. But if you've been following, I've made a fold there, but then I fold it back up, and then it's going to go round. It's going to wrap around the neck. We've still got some folds to make at the top there. Now we had a really big long one that went the full length of the collar, but what you can do is you can break it up into three smaller pieces. So we can fold sort of that middle one there right up to those other smaller folds that were made in the collar, and then we can manage the folds at either end there a lot easier, a lot simpler. One on the right side and then one on this left side as well. And then those folds that we've got there, those smaller folds, those will wrap around the neck area. As you can see, we can just twist and bend those around, and then they bend round nicely. You can sort of see the paper toy is already taking shape because we put all those folds in. And let's start to stick it together. So line it up. I've got my trusted handy dandy tape dispenser here with a little corrugated edge to it, so that can be quite sharp. So be careful, take your time, line things up again, stick your little bit of tape on one side, line it up, and then fold the other half of the tape down to hold it together. Same with the next part. This is sort of like the part where where the legs are and where the feet tuck in. So you can see I'm sticking the paper to one side and then folding it round to join those two parts up, so that we get our nice box shape is starting to come together nicely. Little bit of tape, sticking on one side. See there, line it up, get it nice and straight and lined up, and then bend that bit of tape over and around. We'll do the same on that side as well. You can see there the knees, the sort of lighter areas there, that's the knees, and the line for the middle of the legs. And then where that Boxhead Papercraft's symbol is, that's going to be sort of what the paper toy stands on in a way, as well as when we put the boots on as well. Just get some nice little bits of tape to stick around onto those bits, and then we've got obviously the number for the back of the shirt. And we've got that tab we're going to put. That's one of the reasons why I didn't make any stick the collar down, is because we need to sort of like open that up so we can stick the top of the back of the shirt to the underside of the collar. See, that's the thing, I could write these instructions down, but putting pictures into words isn't always easy. So that's why having a build along instruction video, I think, works a lot better for you, and it saves me from having to explain things with words. We're just sticking the either side of the back to the sides of the paper toy there. So we've got a nice solid sort of, got no idea what you'd call this 3D shape, but it's a box shape. But now we're coming to stick the collar together. Now you can stick sort of like the full collar down to the side, but I've left it open. You can see my finger can slide in underneath and stick it together, and that makes it look a little bit more like a proper collar. We'll do the same on that side as well. Or are we going to do the same? Am I going to leave this so that we can, no. I was going to say I thought I left it so that we can stick the arms in, because I think really, see on the sides there, you can see the sort of the rounded square shape I've got there. That's where the arms are going to go. But I'm showing you that the head slots in there, slots in nicely with the collar going around it. And yeah, I guess we'll find out once we're putting the sleeves on what I do about sticking those on. And I think we're going to cut one of those out now, or we're going to start with the shoes. No, we'll leave the shoes to one side. We've got our sleeves there to cut out. These are nice and easy. The sleeves, we've just got a fold down the middle, and then the arms, depending on what head that you've cut out. All the heads come with arms, which is quite fortunate, isn't it? That will sort of slot into these sleeves that we're going to stick on. Just trimming around there, same sort of technique with the scissors, keeping them nice and straight. Even though these parts are a little bit smaller and trickier, the technique stays the same. Just turning the paper that we're cutting around the scissors rather than moving the scissors around the paper. Makes it a lot simpler. Just making those last few cuts. And we can leave the scissors to one side and bring the sticky tape out again. Okay, you can see we've got that fold right in the middle. That's sort of, I guess, the shoulder of the paper toy. And we've got tabs on one side, and then we've got the side of the sleeve. And again, just bending that paper around those dotted lines that we can see, and giving it a little pinch when we're happy we've got it in the right place. And we've got tabs that sort of, as we fold them along over that middle bit. Got those tabs that'll tuck in, and we make our, stick it together. So we can put our tape on there, we can line it up, and then bend the sellotape over, same on that side as well. Stick our tape on, and then just bend it around when we're happy that we've got those bits lined up and in place. So there's one of our arms. And do our second one before we stick them to the body. And make those same folds. Take your time, there's no rush for them. I'm just sort of doing these a bit quicker because I've done this before. I've made paper toys before, and use the table if you need to help support you make those folds as well. But probably when it comes to sticking, you'll need to have the paper toy off the desk or your table and in your hand like so. Just make that other. Stick that other sleeve together, like so. And then we're going to, I'm just showing you there that rounded square where the sleeve's going to go. And it's going to tuck in up and into the collar, like so. It probably would have been easier if I'd left hadn't stuck the collar down, but I don't get it right all the time. But we'll stick a bit of tape, half of it on the sleeve, and then I'm going to try and show you how to fiddle it into the collar. I'm sticking underneath the collar like so. There we go. So we've got a nice little hinge there, but to make it nice and stable, I'm going to put another little bit of tape in the cricketer's armpit. There we go, don't worry, he's not played yet, so it's not sweaty. But we've got a nice hinge and flapping action to the arm there to help him bowl. Let's do the other sleeve. And stick your tape to the top part of it, and then sort of very gently and steadily slide it up into the collar there. Pinch it together, stick it down, you get that nice hinge again. But just to make it nice and secure, we'll stick another bit of tape in the cricketer's armpit, like so. And there we go. We've got our sleeves on our cricketer's body. The boots that we're going to do now, they're very similar to the sleeves, just that little bit bigger, and they've not got a hole to slot arms in. They just sort of like, well, it closes up to make a solid 3D shape for the boots. So just going, just trimming those down, following those cut lines, those solid cut lines, round the tabs. And you can see sort of like those six rounded squares there. They're the studs, because cricketers, especially bowlers, wear boots that have got studs in them for a bit of grip. So we've got one done. Let's get the other one cut out as well, and then we can fold them, and then we can stick them together and then stick them to the body. Get rid of our rubbish there. Keep a nice tidy desk. Nice straight scissors. Move the paper around the scissors. Again, there's no set sort of order that you should cut anything out in. Could have done the boots first, and it wouldn't have messed up the paper toy. But we're doing them last with this part, and then in amongst all of the details, you can pick out those dotted lines to fold. these next 3 folds, 1, 2 and 3, that's sort of like the toe end of the boot. And there's the top of the boot where those green details are the laces. And then we've got the sides of the boot there as well, so it folds over. You can see the top part of it there, those are the laces. And then we've got another fold there to make for the sort of the toe end of the boot. And you'll be able to tell that it's already taking shape because those bits fold. I'm going to move straight onto the sticking there, but the folds that you make, sort of you start to feel the shape coming together. And we're sticking down the side of the boot to the top of the boot there. And then we'll do the other side. Just a bit of tape on the laces of the boot, the lace details, and stick it round to the side. And then we're just tucking in the tabs for the front end of the boot. They all slot in there, and then we stick a bit of tape to the toe, and that bends, that folds round onto the studs. And now we've got a boot, a cricketer's boot, that's going to get stuck on there. They'll get stuck on very similar to the sleeves, so that they can sort of like flap around and help our paper toy cricketer when he's running and jumping and bowling. But back onto making the folds on the second boot there. Take your time with these to sort of bend the paper around the dotted lines. Try and just make one clean fold. Keep your paper toy nice and neat. And there we can tuck those tabs in. That helps to hold our paper toy together. Stick it to one side and then fold the sellotape over to the other. Same with that one as well. Stick it to the top where the laces are and round onto the side like so. And we tuck the toe end of the boot inside. See the studs on the bottom there as well. Bend it over like so. So we've got our 2 feet and our little body there. Let's show you how to put those feet on. So you can see there's a line that goes straight down the middle that helps us to position the boot. So we've got the body balanced on its on the neck end, I suppose, with the base pointing right up. That box head Paper Crafts, that's going to be on the bottom. That's where it's going to stand. So that's the way that you have it round. And you can see there I've just put 2 little bits of tape on to make that hinge for our foot to flop around on. And we'll do the same with the other one as well. So we've got the studs sort of facing up at the moment because that's the position we've got our body in. That's going to help us with the position of the second boot, lining up with the first one so that we've got that, you can just about see that line on the body, that sort of the leg line, so that our boots go right in the middle, can dingle and dangle around at the bottom. Same with our sleeves as well. And there's our cricketer all stuck together like that. There's his head. We've got some arms to slot in there, or am I just going to show you yeah, there we go. Enjoy.